threat has become reality. It's time to hide the pizza and lock up the beer. Your worst fears have materialized. No, it's not Obamacare, but this program rollout probably won't be much better. That's not a total eclipse of the sun, folks. That's just your favorite broadcaster coming in for a landing after breaking free from his tether at Lindenhurst. Now, here he is, in full regalia and sartorial splendor. The man that can affect commodities prices just by threatening to go on a diet. Number 6 in your program and number 1 in your heart. In the flesh and lots of it, Mr. Fathead Radio himself. The Boomer, Mike Bergen. Give it up or become lunch. Up next, our NASCAR expert, Denny DiGiovanni.
Don't have the option of...
Yeah, on the web, when you go on the web and hit the events, there's a little block there for you to click going, maybe, or can't make it. But I don't think you see that on the phone. I think it's up to 18 people are going, and I try to figure out who is bringing people with them. It's like 25 so far that I know of.
Because I'm sure there's still some people that haven't heard about it who aren't on Facebook.
Yeah, and if you remember Lynn Dixon, she's flying in from Florida.
No, I didn't know that.
And she was real good friends with Bruce Russakoff, who is also coming.
Who?
And Patty Shilton's coming.
Well, you know what? I got the recording working again for somehow. It wasn't recording early on, so, which is okay. It was just me jabbering, but didn't catch us early. So if you want, maybe we could repeat that information on the Naked Bike Ride. There's still time for some of our audience to make it down there. I don't know if they can get in shape for it in the next 5 hours, but you told me I think it starts at 3?
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, Naked Bike Ride in the city of Philadelphia. Do you know
Yeah, go online and just put in Naked Bike Ride 2015, and it'll tell you the starting point, where it's going to begin and where it's going to end. There's a map of the whole route.
Beautiful. All right, I'm sure we'll have people flocking down there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Now, there's a problem with cameras, right? Do you have to register them or something, you told me?
Well, that's for any photographers or any media personnel has to register. And they're telling you that if anybody says, you must ask before you take a picture of anyone. If they say no, no means no. And the whole list of rules and regulations, similar to bullying, making comments about people's bodies and all kinds of stuff. You gotta read it.
I will.
There's a whole long list of do's and don'ts.
Yeah, well, I'll read it next year in case I go down next year because I don't see myself heading down there for the Naked Bike Ride. I'm not.
There'll be a lot of body painting too, and some of them people are really good at that. Like I got a picture of a girl that has. I didn't even realize it till later that she's naked, but they painted a Phillies jersey on her. And it looks like a real jersey, but when you look real close,
you can see.
She has nothing on. I've been a Phillies fan ever since.
That sold you. NASCAR coming along, pissing you off this year, or?
Off this week. The trucks and the Bush are going to be in Canada today, I believe, and the Cup guys have the weekend off. The Indy drivers died last week.
Hey, how about that? You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I should have brought that up to you.
Yeah, a piece of shrapnel, if you may, something that flew off of another car, hit this guy in the head and killed him.
I saw the clip.
And when them guys are out there in the open, there's nothing surrounding them Indy cars.
Right.
Or the F1 cars. They're like right out there.
Yeah, that's all that open wheel racing, as they call it, don't they?
Yeah. That's we got Danica Patrick from them.
Yeah. Because she's in NASCAR
she's the only,
now, right?
Only woman that ever won a Indy race.
Oh, okay. Well, that's news to me, too. Cool.
That's my baby.
That is your girl, I know.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to being 30 again. I'd be chasing her all over the NASCAR venues.
Oh, man. She don't know what she's missing, Dan. That's a shame. She probably wishes she was 60.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
If she knew that. All right, pal.
A new sponsor this year, for next year.
Who, Danica does?
Yeah. GoDaddy wants to leave the local and go more into international.
Really?
Because they got it pretty well covered in the States, and now they want to see what they can do overseas as far as moving their product. Because all they sell is a .com.
The instructor said that GoDaddy is the number one in the country. What you just said, like that registering the .coms and
yeah. Yeah, they had some really good Super Bowl commercials with her. Yeah, but they think that they did enough in the States.
Yeah, I can see.
Recognized now, and they want to go after another whole market.
Right. It's all
so
marketing.
There's a bakery that picked her up that's new. She's very marketable. She's like the number 2 marketable person in NASCAR. She makes a lot of money for the people.
Racers.
Her and Earnhardt are the most popular drivers, and they don't have to worry about losing a sponsor because somebody's like right there to pick up on that.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Junior's that popular. Is that still from his dad's coattails, or is this guy really winning races?
A little both.
Yeah.
He doesn't win a ton of races, but he's always like in the top 10, and people just love him, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the father's coattails. As a matter of fact, when they come back to the track again, Dale Sr.'s grandson will be racing, Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Okay, so he's not he's not racing today. He's going to be a rookie.
Yeah, but next week this is his debut in the Cup, but he raced a lot of bush races. He's Kerry's son, Kerry Earnhardt's son, Junior's brother. So Kerry was a big bomb. He tried racing, and Bradshaw and another guy hired him, and they fired him just as fast.
I guess if you don't win, you can't stick around, huh?
Yeah, they couldn't hold on to sponsors because Kerry wasn't winning any races, or he was not even in the top 20. So if your car's not on the camera, they don't need you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and they went through a lot of drivers, and they finally gave up. There were several athletes to try to start up a NASCAR team, and they failed. That's because they went right to Cup racing instead of like going through the ranks and feeling it all out.
Oh, I see. So the name got them in. That's how that works, right?
Terry Bradshaw thought he was just going to put a bunch of money in there and start winning and making more money, and that didn't work out like that.
Is he the one that hired the Earnhardts, the grandkids?
Yep.
Okay.
If you recall the year that Dale Earnhardt died, prior to the Daytona 500 starting, Dale Earnhardt took Terry Bradshaw for a ride around the track in the pace car and scared the living shit out of him. But they were friends.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why he hired Kerry Earnhardt. And
couple good old boys, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Louisiana dude.
Annapolis, North Carolina.
Who's that?
Just about all the drivers, but that's where the Earnhardts are from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking about Bradshaw. Bradshaw's down in the bayou somewhere.
I don't know where he's from. But
Yeah, he's from Louisiana. I know he's from the bayou somewhere. I don't know that much about Bradshaw, except he's got 4 Super Bowl rings, I think it is.
yeah.
So he did okay for himself.
When we were talking about Bradshaw, something just came to my mind. I read something on Facebook, and I don't know if it's true or just a joke or what. But Pittsburgh picked up Michael Vick.
Yeah, they did, and they're taking some heat for it, apparently, from what I see on the social media.
Yeah, something about they got a rapist, and now they got a dog killer.
Right. It's nice story. And then, I don't know, they got somebody for assault, too, I think. So.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so there's been, like, a lot of memes. But like you said, you never know what to believe. You can't believe those memes.
Was it the player that beat up his wife in the elevator from Pittsburgh?
No, he was from Baltimore. He played for the Ravens. I don't know what happened to him. He's off the radar. I haven't heard his name in a long time.
Tied now. The people got cameras out at the exact time that somebody messes with somebody, and the victim ends up kicking the crap out of the bully.
Yeah.
But I think the Ben Salem cops here do a really good job. I don't know how many people they don't catch, but they sure get some big guys, and this is definitely the wrong place to rob a bank.
Yeah, how about that guy, the TD Bank? He was a handsome-looking guy, too. But the best thing he's been doing lately for everybody in the old neighborhood is he put together these Dugout Reunions, which is going to happen on September 13th at Katie O'Donnell's up at Franklin Mills. All right, we're back. Hopefully I got that all right. So, again, thank Denny for calling in, taking up some time, helping us out. I want to thank my buddy Whitey, one of our loyal listeners, for calling in earlier. I'm still looking for that song that he's dedicating to somebody named Hillary. He requested Liar. And he told me it was something about Freddie Mercury's anniversary. I'm not sure about that. I got to check into that. You got to add... right as I was going to tell you about Mike Bergen Realtor. Don't forget, MikeBergenRealtor.com.
Up next, Jim Coins Kelly with the Baseball Report.
Good morning. Fat Hat Radio here. You're on the air.
Mr. Bergen.
Oh, Coins. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Fat Hat Radio. You're on the air. I love that.
So it was a lot of fun. And then Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder, passed away this week. I hope we're
that's a. I mean, I was reading some stuff. I forgot how funny he was.
I know. 50,
I mean,
50
they were always mad at him because they felt he could be better than he was. But bottom line is, he didn't really care that much. He was along for the ride. He liked playing, but he wasn't. He didn't have that real. He came out of high school as a phenom, and
wasn't he the first? Wasn't he the first? Didn't I read he was the first one to come out of high school in the
correct.
NBA? Yeah.
It was Maynard Evans High School in Orlando, Florida, Mike.
I remember Maynard Evans. He was assassinated, I think, wasn't he?
No, that's Sniper Evans.
Oh, that was Sniper Evans.
That's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
I don't know who Maynard Evans was, Mike.
No, neither do I. But that's. I'm glad I got you here because I would have mixed them up.
Yeah, and we all remember Maynard G. Krebs too.
Maynard G. Krebs, absolutely. Dobie Gillis' friend.
That's right.
Well, well, this is our 1951 is our theme today, so that's kind of perfect. That's the year
1951.
1951, the year we were born.
Oh, by the way, belated happy birthday too, Mike.
Ah, thank you. I'm looking forward to yours.
Next Sunday, buddy.
Next Sunday, man. Well, I already
not looking. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say I already played when I'm 64 by the Beatles. I opened up with that, so that was dedicated to all of us. Me, you, buddy Bob Gabala. He's right around your time, and Denny Deege. Deege called in. In fact, he told me, I don't know if you know this, but the Naked Bike Ride is this week. Is this afternoon actually, downtown. If you can,
in Philly?
In Philly. I don't know if you have time, but
I do not have time.
They have a lot of
and I wouldn't have time to do that, but thanks for sharing that with me.
Well,
as long as they're not doing it when the Pope's in town, that's all I care about.
Yeah, they probably didn't want that conflict.
Yeah, you're probably right on that.
Somebody's thinking for a change. And I saw this morning that Al Arbor passed away, the old Islanders coach.
Oh man, yeah, the old Islanders nemesis.
Yeah, he was a nemesis. Well,
the team was a nemesis. They just, they won 4 straight Stanley Cups, right?
But he was coaching, right? And they won at least 4. They won 4 in a row. So I'm not sure if they won more than that. But that was Trottier and Bossy and Bossy.
Dave Nystrom. What was Nystrom's first name?
Nystrom and Gillies.
Potvin. Was Potvin on that team?
Potvin was definitely on the team, and I think Chico was the goaltender.
Correct. Or Billy Smith, one of them.
Both of them. Good memory.
I think you're right.
Smith.
I think they were both the goalies. You're right.
I knew they had like 2 number 1 goalies when they were that good.
Yeah, they and the infamous. I still remember watching the offside that wasn't called.
Right, in the playoffs with the Flyers.
In the playoffs, and they scored a goal, and that was the dagger in the Flyers' heart. I was down the shore watching that. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Leon Stickle was the linesman that didn't call it. He got booed every game he reffed in Philly for the rest of his career.
Well, and if you remember too, Al Arbor, I believe, wasn't he on the Blues teams that used to pound the Flyers?
Oh, that's a good memory, Jim. I think you're right about that.
I'm not positive. I thought he was a defenseman on that team. He was the only one that didn't beat up. You had the Pleger brothers. You had
who
the other
when the Flyers first came in the league.
Right.
I'm never going to remember that. I was just starting to follow hockey back then.
I'm pretty sure Arbor was part of that defense. When the Blues just started in the league, and the Flyers way back in the late '60s, early '70s. But I might be wrong on that. Yeah. And I don't know why I remember that either, to be honest.
Yeah, the only thing I knew about the Flyers the first couple of years is that Father Knoll from Archbishop Ryan was their chaplain the first few years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he used to get tickets. That was the first hockey game I've ever seen. I don't even remember who I went down with. But they got tickets. And then a couple years later, with Hayride and Frankie, we started going down, and we bought season tickets when they were $6 a seat.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can still remember my senior year in high school, Christmas night, in a snowstorm, because, when you're a senior in high school, you got nothing else to do anyway. Me and Zub and the Riddler and one other guy, we drove down to the to the game in a snowstorm just to get out of the house. And the tickets, I think you're right, they might have been $5. It was would have been 1968 winter.
Yeah, that was probably the best seat in the house.
We got tickets and kind of walked around. We didn't even really sit down, if I remember.
There used to be fights. That was crazy back then sometimes. But when we had the $6 tickets for the season tickets, that was in the early 70s because it was right before they won the Cup. The year that the statue they built for with Dornhofer scoring the goal in overtime, we were at that game. And it happened at the goal because it was the fourth period. If it happened in the third period, it would happen right in front of us. It happened down the other end, and they made that statue. Well, that's the year we were doing like you were talking about, you and Zub and the boys going down, and we would just go down to the games. And they had a deal where if you bought season tickets now for next year, you'd be guaranteed something. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a price break, but it was a seats or something. And and we jumped on it, and we went down. I had mine for 3 years. I think Hayride and Frankie kept them for a couple more. But I gave them up when they were like $7. I couldn't afford them anymore back then. It was crazy. But I got to see the Cups. I was down there for the first one they won at home. And I was down there for the second year. And I'm telling you what, I used to say I never missed a game. And I really believe that at least on the first year that we did not miss a game. We went down there for every game. And that was so much fun, but that was Broad Street Bullies heydays.
And Mike, weren't there was always a Thursday night game, right? It was always Thursday night?
Thursday night, Sunday night, Saturday afternoon.
No, I think it was the other way around. I think it was Sunday afternoon, Saturday night.
Yeah, okay.
They were the 3 dates, if I remember.
Well, you the Thursday. I know you got the number.
Yeah, they
one
never
there.
played. They never played like a Tuesday, and it was always those 3 days for whatever reason.
Right. Now it's different, but it's still pretty much Thursday night is the big night. They always have a game on Thursday, it seems.
So was Basketball Jones on yet?
No, I'm hoping. He told me he's going to call in. He's got a personal Chocolate Thunder story that I hope he's going to share with the Fat Hat Radio audience.
I already know it, so it's a great one.
It is a great one. I don't really remember all the details. I think I probably laughed through most of them, so I'm looking forward to hearing it again. Actually, but
he's got us on the radio right now, and he's really intensely listening. I'm sure.
I'm sure. In fact, he's
listening. Now we're close, Mike. We're close on the Ryan Howard thing.
Listen,
coming down to the wire here.
It's killing me. They're not starting against lefties, but I guess it doesn't matter because you don't hit them anyway. But that's killing me, man. That's that many less ABs is not good for me, Jim. I need 4.
Yeah, you only need. If he doesn't hit 4, I'll be shocked. Unless he gets hurt, he's going to hit 4.
I'll be disappointed because he's swinging the bat pretty well. I mean, batting against he's got his average up to over 240. Right?
How about that being a high water mark, though?
Well, I know that's not going to be on his Hall of Fame credentials, but the truth is, in fact, I don't know what the truth is, but in the beginning, early in the year, I guess the first half of the year, he couldn't have been hitting more than 210.
Right.
So as a second half of the year, I'm sure one of these games I'm watching. I'm still watching them all the time, buddy.
Oh, so Mike, I watch it for obvious reasons. I got because of our Jake, our bet.
Well, you got a bunch of bets.
And then I got the Yankee-Philly thing.
Well, the Yankee-Philly thing. I'm trying to find the standings here so I can laugh at that.
I think I'm up 19 games right now.
New York's
either 19 or 18. Depends how they did yesterday.
Yeah.
Huh?
71 wins for the Yankees versus 51 for the Phillies. So it's
20. I'm up 20.
And now, to your point, though, I'm looking at the Daily News this morning, and they don't have last night's results in for New York. So
okay.
The Phillies.
Who were they playing last night?
I can tell you that, but it's going to take me.
Texas or something? No, they're playing the Braves.
Okay.
They're playing the Braves. So I don't know why they wouldn't have a Braves score in there. That's the problem with these papers now, Mike. Unless the game's over by 9:00, you don't get the score.
Right. Oh, interleague. You're right. The Braves. And they were playing Atlanta. That's a good point. Eastern Standard Time. How about
Anything
that?
on the East Coast should be, in the paper, but not anymore. I get the Daily News delivered, Mike. So I don't know. Believe it or not, I get the Daily News delivered. So.
I like that. That's true hardcore Philly.
Yeah, but how about how small newspapers are now? I mean, compared to, if you're talking 1951, think about what the newspaper looked like then and what it looks like now.
Yeah, the Sunday paper are still like that. I get the Sunday Inquirer delivered still.
So do I.
Yeah.
I get the Sunday too. Yeah, I get that as well.
Hey, listen, I got to go back. I got to correct something. I gave you bad information. The New York score wasn't in here, but they had 69 wins. I was looking at the Mets. I'm sorry. But still 18 games. You're not even close. I mean,
yeah, but I
they
need,
lost.
But I need that win to cover our bet if I lose that bet.
Yeah, but you can't lose it, can you? How many, I thought it was they would win more than the Yankees. No, it's not just straight.
Well, it's $5 a game differential.
Oh my God! Yeah, that'll cover some bets for you.
Yeah, so right now I'm 90 ahead, $90, and I get 50 with you and 50 with the Riddler.
Okay.
So I just want to break even. That's all.
Yeah, it was fun. Listen, I've had fun with this thing all year because I've been telling people about our other side bet, the $5 that I'm probably not going to win from you. That Ryan Howard would be an actually comeback player of the year. That looks like that's not playing out the way I hope.
Well, that's a good question. So who is the National League comeback player of the year?
I don't know. I haven't been barely paying any attention to
I have no idea, Mike. I'm asking you because I have no idea.
Yeah, we're both in the same boat. We got to get somebody who I don't know who'd be paying attention to that. All right, we got a right-hander pitching for the Padres today, though, so Ryan Howard should be in the lineup.
Yeah, and that team really stinks. So I always cringe because when they and the other thing that bothers me more than anything because I really can't stand the Mets is them coming in here and winning 4 games.
I know.
Even though I'm betting against the Phillies. Now,
we were saying that we're both still watching these games. And by the way, I'm really enjoying this team. I mean,
Mike, I'm a naysayer, but it's much more fun to watch a team with a bunch of young guys, really try. And one thing you see with the Phillies now is they're really never out of the game.
No, they're scoring runs.
Early in the season, if they're down 3 runs, game's over.
Oh yeah.
They're not winning all of them, but they're at least they're not
quitting.
Giving up.
They're not quitting, right? And
early in the season, it was like, we're done.
Well,
and that was with Utley, and that was all these other all these
vets.
Other. And when are they going to jettison Dominic Brown? Can we get rid of him soon?
I don't know. We were laughing. I was talking to got a couple baseball fans at the Phillies fans too at the table last night. And I'm telling you, Dominic Brown could go 26 for 26, and I would still love to see him going.
Well, he's never doing that, Mike, so we don't have to worry about that. He stinks.
I hate watching him play baseball.
I like this kid, this young, what's his name, Altier or Alder or whatever his name is?
Yeah, he looks like fun. They were
Did
saying...
you see the catch he made? Did you see the diving catch he made early in the game?
No, I didn't see any of last night's game.
Really, Mike, I don't know what inning it was, and I flipped it on, and this kid went all out, laid out. He's playing right field, and laid out and made a terrific catch.
That's super.
And, got up and went back, and Dominic Brown would have run by the ball or wouldn't have got to the ball.
Oh, Dominic Brown. Listen, early in the week, Jimmy, did you see the play he made when he ran into the... He didn't run into the wall. He backed into the wall. You could see him grimace in his head. Probably closed his eyes. His head went down. His glove was up, and the ball hit about 3 foot to his right on the wall. I mean, right where he was. It was the fun. I mean, if I wasn't so sick of seeing that, it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I
did not see that. I missed that.
Zero baseball instincts. This guy's not a baseball player. He's obviously been blessed by God with talent, but he's got no baseball instincts.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Never does the right thing. Like instinctively, he doesn't do the right thing. So
and this guy, and how about the guy the one the other night, the center fielder when he dropped the fly ball at the beginning of the game?
Know. I missed that, but I saw the replay. I know
that was bad. But
how about that kid they picked? Listen, this kid's fun to watch. This stud they got for Hamels, that was his second start. He gave up 3 runs. that first inning after dropping that fly ball. So he shouldn't have given up 3 runs. He wouldn't have given up 3 runs had he caught that ball.
Right.
But then he settled down. He pitched 5 scoreless innings after that. And
and you got to like this kid that pitched last night.
Well, the kid that pitched last night, he's everything is advertised. He came up with a lot of pressure. But
he's good. He's really good.
He's really good. He's a pitcher, man. He's fun to watch. He's like, because when Hamels left, that was my biggest bug, is that Hamels was the only pitcher on that whole staff that I really enjoyed watching pitch, even if he had a bad night. You know, if he wasn't on exactly, I mean, Hamels was just that kind of pitcher. He's professional, fights every pitch.
How's he doing in Texas, Mike?
He just won. He pitched last night. I don't know. Our boy Dutch was actually down there. He's at some truck show in Dallas, Texas, and he went to the Rangers game last night, and Hamels started. You know what? I'm saying that to you. I got the paper in front of me. I'll see if they probably don't have the
It's
score.
not in there yet. It wouldn't be in there, Mike.
No, they won 4-1. It is in here.
Oh, okay.
But I'll have to find the box score. Let me find the box score, see if Hamels won. Hamels won. He got the win. So,
all right.
Yeah, so nice.
That was, I'll tell you, of all the teams, I thought that was the one I was least thought he'd go.
Yeah, I was surprised.
To Dallas, because he's a California guy, and the other, I think his wife's from like St. Louis, so maybe that's close enough, I guess, and that was the best deal. Well, they did good on that one apparently. He's from the Hamels trade, this Eichhoff, right?
Yes.
And then they're raving about another guy. They just got a real good hitter, a kid named Nick Williams. I think that was in the Utley trade, or maybe who else did they get rid of?
You had Revere.
He might have been
Revere went to Kansas City.
Trade. He may have been in the Hamels trade as well. This guy, Nick Williams.
I don't have that all straight out. I recognize the name. I know they got the catcher too, but they got like 4 guys for Hamels, but the one guy is like a disabled list old dude that they're just eating his contract.
Yeah, they just exactly. Harrison's name is, I think.
Okay, good call. Harrison is right.
Yeah, I think he's a left-handed pitcher. He hasn't pitched in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't know him. I don't know for anything.
Yeah, which is what happens when you sign pitchers to long-term deals.
It can happen, right?
They get hurt, they get paid, and you can't do anything about it.
Cliff Lee. Here's what I wanted to say is before I forget, though, because when you brought up Hamels, you made me think of the Cubbies. And that's where I thought Hamels might land, which I thought would be pretty cool for him, because if the Cubs could pull it off, God, if they ever win a World Series out there, right, that town will blow up. But listen.
I'll tell you, they're a good team. The Cubs are good.
Jimmy.
And they're young. They're good and young.
Coins, I got to tell you, Chicago, I'm looking at they're 73-53. They're 20 games over 500. They're 8.5 out of first place.
I know, and that's something.
Isn't that terrible? They'd be in
Cardinals
first place in every other division except for the Central American League.
So a guy gave an analogy about the Cardinals, comparing. I'm trying to think to what I think it was. The Cardinals are the San Antonio Spurs of baseball.
Okay. Yeah. How do they do it?
Yeah, I mean, every year they're in the hunt. They're always around, and
right.
They interchange players. They move guys, like this guy. They got the guy Hayward from Atlanta, who was kind of he was kind of nosediving in Atlanta, and these guys go out there and they just resurrect themselves. Now I don't know what Hayward's. I think he's having a good year, not a great year, but he's a perfect fit for the Cardinals. And then they have these interchangeable guys. The guy Carpenter. I mean, he's having a phenomenal year. The catcher's really good. Their pitching's good. Most of it's homegrown. The interchange shortstop. They got a pretty good shortstop, good second baseman. The kid they got from Slippery Rock, he's out, and they just don't. This kid Adams, remember him?
No.
Yeah, I think it's Mike Adams or something Adams. He came up out of the minor leagues last year, and I think he the MVP of the something last year.
Yeah,
and he's from Slippery Rock. He played at Slippery Rock, Mike.
Yeah, you're getting way too deep for me. But before I forget, one good news I read this morning, one piece of good news on the Phillies front, talking about watching these old guys play and how disgusting. Williams is out of the starting rotation.
He
Jerome
pitched last
Williams.
night.
He pitched in relief last night for an inning, right?
He can get away with that slot because for an inning, that's what he should be doing.
Yeah.
He doesn't throw strikes.
No.
And if you get young guys, they'll fish. If you watch him, if he has to come over the plate, he gets rocked.
You're right.
But the way he does it is he just doesn't throw strikes, and then they stop swinging at it.
Well,
is what happens. And then once he has to come over the plate, he gets bombed.
Right. That's a good
Yeah, he's
observation. I can see that.
No, it's just he doesn't throw hard enough, Mike. He's just
right.
He's
And you don't have enough movement. He's got a little movement on his ball, but definitely not enough.
Yeah, not enough. These guys pound that kind of pitching.
Right.
These are real. These are real. And you'll notice he does okay against the lesser teams, but against good teams, they rock him. He doesn't do well against the upper echelon team.
I couldn't stand watching. Now Harang's the next guy that's got to get out of the rotation because he's impossible to watch. I watched that game the other night when they were winning 5-0. He got a veteran pitcher on the mound, and I said to Amelia, he's going to give that up. And goddamn, he came out, gave 2 runs right back, and 2 innings later it was 5-5. Gave up 3 home runs. It was terrible.
Yeah, well, he's what he is. He's a 37-year-old guy who also, beginning of the season, I guess he can throw, maybe in the 90s, and as the season wears on, he's in the 80s. And
well, he was, yeah, right. He had a 2.02 earned run average through his first 11 starts.
Right.
But did you see Colin? Is that how you pronounce his name? The Mets pitcher, the old guy. Jerseys hanging out.
Colon.
Colon, thank you. So,
Bartolo
Colon. He pitched the other night against the Phillies. He's an old man out of shape. In fact, him and Harang look like they go to the same gym, don't they? These 2 guys.
The thing is, Colon still can throw hard. He can throw. No, he can throw on a certain occasion, on a certain pitch.
Well, yeah.
He'll bring it up there.
Right.
Not consistently, Mike.
No,
you're right. Yeah,
he can't throw.
But again, he's pitching against a bunch of young guys. Like the guy Herrera. He's a good player, but he swings at anything.
Right. He likes
Hernandez swings. The guys from the Latin American guys swing at everything.
They like to swing the bat.
If you look at it, they do.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. They'll hit pitches, but they'll hit some of them out. I mean, the best hitter I've ever seen that hit pitches out of strike zone was Roberto Clemente.
Yeah. How about Manny Sanguillen? He was the same way. They were on the same
Right.
club.
Right, but Clemente was before Sanguillen. He was the first guy I remember that said, it doesn't matter what the count is or where the pitch is, Clemente can hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, Clemente was a great ball player. I remember.
Well, he just used to ruin the Phillies. He used to. I remember sitting in watching a Phillies Pirates game, and the Phillies were up 3 runs, maybe 1 out in the 9th, and Clemente's up, bases loaded. I said, "You got to walk him here." Everybody's laughing at me. He had a grand slam. I just said it like facetiously. We should walk Clemente here. He had a grand slam.
Yeah, I know. Well, back then when the Pirates and the Phillies used to play a lot of games against each other, so I remember seeing Clemente a lot when I was young.
Yeah,
He got killed.
And the Pirates had, they were good and the Phillies were bad. But then in the 70s, that's when the Phillies got good and the Pirates were good, if you remember those games.
Right, the Lumber Company, right, those days.
The Lumber Company and the Phillies, the Phillies were just getting good with Schmidt and Boa and Wazinski and, Bob Boone and all, all those guys.
Before Pete Rose,
That was when they got good. And the Pirates were still pretty good.
Yeah, that was good baseball back then. I'm trying to do a little quick research here while we're talking from this Nick Williams that you're talking about.
That's his
name. He did come into Hamels trade. You were right about that. But he's on a 7-day concussion DL at Double-A Reading. But there was a collision at first base. They said he didn't hit his head or anything, but he had a headache the next morning. And the way they're doing things today, I don't think they let these guys play.
Yeah, if it was back in the day, as they say, Mike, he'd be back in the lineup.
Yeah, he probably would have took his next at bat.
Oh, sure.
And that
sure,
kid,
I mean,
the catcher's playing again too. I'd say the catcher than the Hamels trade. They really need that kid to come through. Hopefully he'll be all right.
Yeah, but don't you like this kid Rupp?
I love Rupp. I don't know. He looks like a backup to me, though. Honestly,
but he's got some power, Mike.
It's in August he does.
I
hope he does that.
I was watching the post game just a little bit. Tommy Green was talking about it, and they were talking about Ruff, and they said the more you play, the more confident you get.
Right.
And I think McCannon, who I think should be back, by the way.
He seems to have the right personality for this team. He's got a sense of humor, which you have to have. Really, when you got a squad like this, because these guys, you never know who you're getting on some nights.
Apparently he's done a good job, and he's done a good job with all these young guys because he speaks a little bit of Spanish, and they like that.
Yeah, I saw that. They have fun with him. They bust his chops about his Spanish, but he knows enough that he can understand when they're talking about him. He says,
he's talking about baseball. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say they get quiet when he walks by. He said,
He's talking about a baseball lifer, Mike. He's been everywhere. He's done everything in baseball.
Yeah, I don't know too much about his history, but I know he's been around forever, and I know he played in Venezuela. So, I mean, if you go down to South America to play baseball, you love baseball.
Yeah, he played. He managed down there. He managed in the minors. He managed in the instructional. He's managed everywhere. He's been interim manager. This is his third tenure as an interim manager.
What's that about? I know. How come he gets?
It's just and who else is out there that managers are managers, and if the team performs for the manager, then why get rid of them?
Right.
And it was good to see Boa go ballistic the other night, though.
That's long overdue. Cooney, the guy that writes in the Bucks County Courier-Times, he had a great article the next day because he was saying what a great move that was by Boa and Francoeur, too, because Francoeur was actually up on the step. I'm surprised he didn't get thrown out of the game. That they showed some fire there because they began their ass kicked for so long. It was just like Boa was just demonstrating that, you can only take so much. And unfortunately, after all the hullabaloo, Ruff he struck out.
Right.
So, I'm not a big Ruff fan. I like the kid, but...
I just thought he'd be better, Mike. I really did.
He looked like he was going to be. But I've seen him in too many situations where he just had to put his bat on the ball, and he doesn't. And in that situation there... after he caused all that trouble, if he could have got a hit or a big hit, that would have, who knows what would have happened. It might have actually excited everybody. But instead, they just laid down after that. They didn't do anything. And it just really seemed to make the relief pitcher got cockier. He went straight off the mound, looking over his shoulder back at the dugout like F.U.
Yeah, so he's got to get drilled. See, the thing about him is he's got to get drilled.
Yeah, but nobody's going to do that anymore. They don't even pitch inside. Did you see the night Buchanan pitched and got lit up? For the 11 runs in one inning?
No.
That was 2 weeks ago. That was.
Yeah, I think I was down the shore. I missed that game.
Yeah, you probably were. That'd be about the right time. It was horrifying, Jim. Horrifying. He didn't brush one guy back. We joke about it. You've used this expression. I think we might have even got it off Richie Ashburn, where they're fighting to get to the bat rack to bet.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
No, that's my line.
That's your line? Oh, I wouldn't
that's
give that
line.
to Richie. Well, that's a great line. That was one of those nights. All right, the other team was fighting to get to the bat rack. Everybody.
I got that. Actually, the first time I ever heard it was my grandfather.
We'll give you
credit
to your grandfather for that. I like that. That makes it even.
Yeah, but now he may have heard it. He got it from somebody else. But I heard him say that years ago, and I'm looking at it. I was probably 10, 8 or 9. He goes, "Look, these guys are fighting to get to the bat."
Yeah, no, you take it literally when you're that young. That's, but it's funny because on a lot of levels, and this is one of those nights where I could see the coaches wanting to get a chance to get back and play, but they were leaning out. Leaning's not even. I can't think of a strong enough word. They were throwing themselves out over the plate, swinging at everything. We're talking about Clemente and Sanguin hitting pitches that are all over the place. They were swinging. It looked like at anything they could reach. They were all leaning out over the plate. He didn't brush one batter back, not one.
Yeah.
And I said to Aim when we had it, I said that he's going. He'll be back in the minors tomorrow. That was just such a sad performance, and I like that kid because he looks like he's about 4'2" on the mound.
Yeah, Mike, he's not a major league pitcher.
But
he's not a major league pitcher.
He can't throw hard enough either.
Correct, Mike. He doesn't throw hard enough. I mean, they figured him out. Even when he was doing good, I'm thinking they're going, he's not throwing hard enough. So eventually they're going to catch up to this guy, and they're not afraid. Like you said, they're leaning out over the plate, and he's not going to dust them. I remember going to a Philly Cincinnati game with Frank Robinson. He might have got dusted 3 times in one game.
Yeah, that's bad.
Remember how he batted? He always leaned over the plate.
He was right up against the plate. He was famous for getting knocked down. I don't really.
And then he'd get up and hit one, over the left field bleachers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all he would do.
Right.
Robinson. Another team that used to pummel the Phillies were the Reds. With him, Robinson, Vada Pinson.
Wow.
Gordy Coleman was the first baseman.
Wally Post. Wasn't that Wally Post on that team?
He was on the Phillies too, though, but he was on the Reds as well. Yes, you're correct.
I might have been.
The catcher was. Who was I forget who the catcher was.
It wasn't Bench. It was before his time, right?
No, it's way before Bench.
Chico Ruiz.
But this one, the Reds were. My first game I think I ever saw was the Reds and the Phillies, and I saw Vada Pinson hit one off the Valentine scoreboard, and the next thing you know, he's like dusting himself off at third base. It was the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
going from home plate. It was just like, wow.
The Phillies got some speed now that you're saying that.
Yeah,
because
they got some.
They've been plotting forever. Well, that Althea, I don't know if I'm saying it right, the kid you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
First of all, he started his career here with 7 consecutive extra base hits. He's the first Philly, this is what it said in the paper this morning, first Philly, according to the Elias Sports Bureau, they started keeping track in 1900. So he's the first Major League player to do it since 2008. Some kid, Carlos Gonzalez, you might know him, did it for Oakland in 2008, but no Philly ever started his career with that many extra base hits. And he's fast.
Yeah.
You reminded me, that Vada Pinson story reminds me of him, because this kid, when I'm watching him on TV, he ends up like one base further than I would have expected him to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's a right-handed batter, which they need.
Right, good point.
Because they got so many left-handers.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll, I'm like they were saying in the paper yesterday. Well, he was on the post game too. They were interviewing him. He's a nice kid.
Yeah, they all seem.
And they were just saying
they took a base on him.
Mike, they were asking him about when he's going to get his first single, because he still hasn't gotten a single yet.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, but he's a guy I'd give a shot to. You got Herrera, who's a little scary in center field. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, but he's never played it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he'll play. They'll send him down. Yeah, he'll play winter ball. He'll get back. I don't know where he's from. I guess Dominican Republic, but he'll play somewhere. Those guys play all year round.
A lot of those guys play all year round. At 23, it's hard to tire him out. But he was a second baseman, and they got to keep him, right? Because he was a Rule 5 guy.
Well, he's here now. I mean, the season's almost over. He's fine now.
Right.
They could send him down next year if they wanted to. They just had to keep him on the roster this year.
Okay. Well,
that's the Rule 5.
He's fun to watch. I like that kid. He hit hard, he got cold, and he's hitting again. So that shows you something, right?
Now, what do you think about the shortstop?
I think he's just a placeholder for Crawford.
Yeah, because they talk about how great of a fielder he is. He has a ton of errors. He gets a little too flashy, and he commits errors. He doesn't do some of the easy plays. He doesn't make. He makes great, exciting, outstanding plays, but he also the routine plays he botches sometimes.
Yeah, he made a spectacular.
And I agree with it. But they'll keep him. He's still hitting in the 270s, right?
Yeah, I was looking for. Actually, I just came up with the Philly stats here in the paper, so I can tell you right now. How about Blanco? While we're filling in time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hitting 267, so that's not too bad.
257, Mike?
No, what did I say? 267.
267.
For a shortstop.
Yeah, I figured I had him as a 220 hitter for his career, so that's pretty good.
Right, I'm not sure he's not. I think that 267 has a lot of hits early in the year in it.
Yeah, but he went into if you remember, Mike, he started out great, went into the tank.
Right.
And he was down into the 240s.
Oh, okay, good.
So he's come back, and you know how hard it is to raise your average once you have all these at-bats.
Exactly,
so
right. Yeah, he's
doing better, let's put it that way. Seems like a good guy.
No, I like him.
Not sold on the second baseman either yet. he's a lot of up and down, Hernandez.
Yeah, he's hitting the same exact number, 267.
Yeah, he's got some brain cramps. I mean, I've been listening. Larry Anderson, they're funny, those two guys.
Yeah.
And I know the other night he did something. Larry Anderson said, "I'm not sure that Caesar understands the game all the time."
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Right.
He's a little bit on the bases. He should be taking the extra base, and he doesn't. He's a little shaky.
He's another fast guy too.
Yeah, I mean they're fast.
Actually, Rupp's got his average up to 250.
But I'm looking at the center fielder Herrera. You're looking at this. Hopefully, they'll give this kid the right. Well, let's see what he does through the end of the year. Altier.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic Brown needs to go. Get rid of him now or whenever. Because nobody wants him, Mike.
No,
I mean, how many chances do you get?
He's hitting 230, and he can't play the field. I mean,
he's hitting 230?
He's hitting 230.
That's what he's hitting?
I'm looking at it right here.
How many home runs?
183 at bats. 2. No, that's Ruiz. I'm sorry. 5. Boy, they're
5 home. How many at bats? 283.
5 quiet home runs. 183.
Nah, he's batted more. That's all he's batted.
So at the Daily News, I'm looking at it right here. 230. 100. Yeah, well, he was on the DL. They sent him down, and then they didn't bring him up. Remember, he announced he was coming up, and they said, "No, you're not." And they kept him down there for like 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I
hilarious.
forgot about that. He didn't start the season.
But
yeah,
that's his whole attitude. He's terrible. Part of his problem is his attitude, probably. But he's just got no baseball instincts. He's probably a football player at heart. Listen, Odubel, our boy Odubel, is hitting 291. That's saying something. For a kid, there's a Rule 5 and couldn't get above Double-A anywhere else.
Now, let me ask you this, Mike. Now you got what's name in left field, and he doesn't hit home runs, so Cody Ashley's got to go too, right?
He's going to have to go. I know. I love that kid.
So do I, but he's a 250 hitter with what? How many home runs he has?
He's a bench player. Unfortunately, it looks like he's got 7 home runs. He's not afraid. Yeah. That kid's more clutch than Rupp. I mean, not Rupp. I'm sorry, Ruff. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ruff bothers me because it just seems like in clutch situations he just doesn't hit. Whereas Ashy, he don't seem to be scared of those situations. Like, he pulls through once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see him as an automatic out like I do the other guy. I'm really impressed with that 254 with Rupp, though. And to go back from a while ago, the replacing Jerome Williams in the rotation, the kid's name is Alec Asher, 23 years old, and he did come in the Hamels trade, so at least we're getting to see these guys pretty quick.
Yeah, is he right or left-handed?
I don't know. He's starting tomorrow. We're going to find out. It doesn't say, or if it does, I can't find it.
All right, so you got. I'm just looking at next
right-hander. He's a right-hander, Jim. To get back to that.
Okay, so you got Nola and this kid Eichhoff, at least so far.
I like this kid Morgan, although he might be the 4th pitcher. I mean, if he's
left-handed, he's left-handed.
And if he's your 4th pitcher, he's okay. Yeah. Well, he battles. I like that kid.
Yeah, and then you got tryouts for the other 2 spots. I mean, that's the bottom line. We'll see how this kid does tomorrow. And then you're gonna.
Well,
they were talking about
He's still.
They were talking about maybe getting a decent, veteran pitcher to kind of round out. They were talking about that on the radio the other day.
They're going to have to. But I mean, they got Harang, who that's what they're going to be looking for. I would think they're not going to get like.
Yeah, but they're not keeping him. He's a 1-year deal.
No,
they're not keeping Harang.
Absolutely not.
And they're not keeping Williams past the end of the year either.
I would hope not.
They're both 1-year deal guys.
Right.
It's a long off season. They'll snag somebody, or maybe they'll just say, hey, I think Buchanan is not going to be back.
No, I'm afraid not. I think we may have seen.
And maybe one of these other pitchers they got from the Dodgers, or I don't know what they got from the Dodgers.
They got 4 rookies in the rotation now. Harang's the only guy that's not a rookie, and like we're both saying he's not going to be here for next year anyway. But right. I'm looking here. They got Nola, Morgan, Eichhoff, and now this kid Asher is going to be the 4th rookie.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Why not, Mike? And
why not? These guys are studs, man. And plus, they're big. These guys all look like they got them from Central Casting. Not the Morgan kid, but the other 2. that they got in the Hamels trade. They look like studs. Now I see that big lefty is on the shelf though. The kid can't remember his name. They got that left-handed reliever. They only bring him in for a couple of hitters, but my buddy Joe told me last night that he's the only lefty in the bullpen, which I don't.
Yeah, it's a what's his name? Alura or whatever.
Arujo or something. Arujo.
Yeah, is he hurt?
He's hurt. Yeah. So
actually, I saw him get hurt. He threw a pitch and they took him out of the game. I remember seeing that now.
No, I didn't even know that.
It was the Mets game. He got hurt. It was Thursday. It was maybe Wednesday night.
Lucky everybody get hurt. Hey, speaking of disappointments, how about Billingsley? I forgot he was on the team.
Well, they took a shot with him, and
that's a shame, though. I hate to see that happen. That guy, you know how hard he had to work to get back to that point that he could even throw.
Yeah, but Mike, if they said, okay, if you get back, and they gave him a bunch of money.
Yeah, he's making millions. He's making millions for that pitching.
I would work hard too.
Yeah, right.
I would.
Well,
I'd be right there with him. But yeah, he's shot. He's done. I mean, they gave him a shot. They took a shot. I think it was 2.5, maybe. Mike, they paid him.
That's cheap today because he's a veteran. That's probably close to the minimum.
It might have been. It's either 2 or 4.5.
Yeah, I would think more. I was thinking 4 or 5, but I don't really know.
Man, I could.
Whatever they're giving him. What's the minimum for a veteran? Can't be less than $1 million. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not less. Yeah, Harang was 1.5.
Is that all they're giving him?
Yeah.
No, he's a bargain then.
Or no, you know what, Mike? Maybe not. Maybe I might be wrong about that. They're probably. I think he might be getting $5 million. Harang.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
They might have been 4.5. I'm trying. Somebody else got 1 point. They gave 1.5 to somebody, but I could live with 1.5 too, Mike.
Oh, definitely.
Gave me 1.5. I'd be okay.
Yeah, for a year. I'd want more next year.
But, but I'm talking about me personally.
Maybe like a free cell phone too. Yeah, well, I could never hit. So if they signed me for 1.5, they would be in for bad news. I could catch the ball. I could throw the ball.
Oh, you know what, Mike? While I'm thinking about it, thinking back, did you know I was down the shore with some Ryan guys?
Oh, cool.
Well, obviously Peltzer and Boyle.
Right.
But one of their buddies came over, and they called him the mayor. Did you know the mayor?
That don't mean anything to me. I might have.
Yeah. Well, his name's Jim Tate. So they call him call him the mayor.
Yeah. No, I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, he was a maternity guy, so you wouldn't know him anyway. But he was there. He was class of '70 at Ryan. Jim Tate. You didn't know him, okay?
Nah, I don't move on.
Well, nice guy is what I'm saying. Real good guy.
Yeah.
And it turns out his son taught my son at LaSalle.
Oh, wow.
High school. Yeah.
Another
so the world just
brush
keeps
with
getting
greatness.
smaller.
That's right. I know. All right, buddy. Yeah. Listen, thanks for calling in. I miss you. Make sure you don't be a stranger, okay?
We didn't even get a chance to do football. Hopefully, Basketball Jones will get on now.
I'm looking for the Darryl Dawkins story at a minimum, and I did get an update from Denny on the breaking news that the starting location on MLK Drive, they just passed the Sweetboro Drive intersection. As you head up to the Art Museum, it's a wonderful, large private area, so they got everybody in a naked bike ride. That's the update. So
they're on the drive and naked?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I thought they just kind of drove through town and that was it.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know about this until Denny told me this morning.
Yeah.
Thank God we got the social director on it.
Denny can keep you posted.
He will.
All right, I'll get off and I'll talk to you.
All right,
Next week I'm down to Shore Dome, Mike. You're not doing a Labor Day, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're on every week now, man. We got our football pool, by the way. I'm glad you said that because we have our Survivor pool. You're in, just like last year. You can text me your choices, picks every week.
Okay.
Now that you're back, I'll get to talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hopefully,
all right, Mike.
Get out. All right, Jimbo. Thanks a lot, Coins.
Take care.
All right, buddy. See you later.
Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, our buddy Coins. Now, all we need now is a phone call from Jigger so we can have a little Darryl Dawkins memoriam. And I think we got Big Frank, if Big Frank's out there, to call in and give his 2 cents for the week. I always like to hear what he's got to say. See how the show went this morning? So we are at 11:41 Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, FatHatRadio.com. We're back on the internet. We're on the interweb. So check us out there once in a while. We'll put our broadcasts on there, edited versions of them, so you don't have to listen to me go, then rattle some papers around. So we're putting podcast on there. And don't forget our sponsor, MikeBergenRealtor.com, for all your residential real estate needs.
You're listening to The Boomer, Mike Bergen, and Big Frank coming to you via Live365.com on Fat Hat Radio.
Good morning, Fat Hat Radio. You're on the air.
Is this the Coin Show?
It is the Coin Show. I missed him. You kidding me? He's the star of this show, baby. You don't mess with that talent.
Why don't you guys get a room?
Well, that would be creepy. We're both a little homophobic, so I don't think that's going to happen.
You're both a little homo, is what you mean.
Home? You mean home? Home for the holidays?
Yeah,
that kind of home.
That's what I meant.
I know.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome. I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea out there, Frankie.
Believe me, everybody already has an idea, and I don't know how wrong they are.
So how come you're not down at the naked bike ride? Denny called this morning. He's keeping
Because
us up to date.
I just read some of the rules.
What are the
One
rules?
of them is penile length. If you may be a hazard to other bikers, you shouldn't come.
Let's see.
So I'm not going to go.
You shouldn't go.
I'm not going.
I wouldn't go either. That could be embarrassing. What do they say about bottle caps?
They said you're due there any minute.
Oh, man. So how'd you do this morning? Did you get on the air?
Went on the air. The few people that tuned in said it sounded great. I enjoyed myself, listened to some great music.
Super.
I mean, if I only have to amuse myself for 2 hours a week, I'll be quite happy. But I'm just thrilled at how great everything sounds. I'm really happy. I mean, this is the first time in 7 years that everything's worked perfectly, that I know what the hell I'm doing, that, and now I got a couple hundred new songs. So I'm having a good time and entertaining myself.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though. I mean, it's you got a little help there, so that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
right?
Now the guy really, really, I mean, I've been working with him for a couple of years, but it was always just trying to get things to just work to the point where I was on the air, not to clean up the signal or add effects or, wire things differently to make it easier to operate. I mean, now I can monitor the whole station through my speakers when I'm not talking. I could just sit back in the chair and crank it up. Before I'd have to sit there with my headphones on the whole entire time. And if I had to get up and go do something, I never knew, if there was music still playing or not.
All right.
So I'm really happy. I mean, I really am. And then my, losing the 14 pounds this month, that made me, super happy. That, really made my month.
That's why I thought you might have made the bike ride. I still have a little midriff, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a little one. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look down, I think you'll see the rest of it.
Yeah. It didn't go far.
It's not far, right? Yeah.
But hey, if I can lose 14 pounds a month for the next 4 months, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, it gets harder, but that's good. Good luck to you.
Yeah, but I don't think it will, because I think, the thing now is I'm able to actually be a teeny bit more active, and I think after the next 14 pounds, even though I'm fighting gout now on an almost daily, the doctor said that the gout is going to be almost continuous while you're losing the weight.
Oh, really? What's the connection there for our gout?
Because you're blowing a lot of toxins. You're not, and you're changing what you eat, even though you're. Last night I had scallops. I shouldn't eat scallops. I shouldn't eat shrimp. I shouldn't eat steak. But those are the high-protein foods that you want to eat to, not have to eat too many carbs.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm willing to suffer through the gout because my attitude is I brought it on myself. I don't mind paying for my own mistakes, and plus it builds character. So what are you going to do?
For sure.
And then
anything that don't kill you makes you stronger. In that
that's
sense.
right. And then Tuesday, I'm taking a ride over to Whole Foods. I'm going to go over to the seafood department and try to get myself some real Florida grouper. Because every time I go somewhere and they tell me I'm getting grouper, it's usually codfish. I'm a little tired of that. Like at the dog tooth, they pulled that on me, you know?
Oh, okay. Well, you know grouper from your...
Oh, when I lived in Key West, man,
Right.
that was my number one. Grouper, yellowtail, and red snapper were all I ate.
Okay.
Grouper's probably the best fish on the planet. Because it doesn't taste like fish. And I don't mind fish that taste like fish, you know. Doesn't bother me.
As long as it's not tasting like fish because it's been sitting around for a few days.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets really fishy.
So I'm going to drive over to Whole Foods on Tuesday. I'm probably going to take a ride down the shore on Wednesday. Have a nice lunch down there by my lonesome. Sit on the boardwalk for a little while, listen to the seagulls screeching. Then I'll drive home. And then we got, Labor Day weekend coming up, right? What day is Labor Day actually on? The Monday is the Labor Day?
7th. My mom's birthday. That's my mom's
birthday. Is that a Monday?
It's a Monday.
So the holiday is on Monday.
Right. It's late this year. That's about as late as... I think that's as late as you can get, right?
Oh, really? Yeah, I always thought it was, I thought it was
First
a week
Monday.
earlier. But, like, everybody's screaming summer's over. Is it summer not over till, like, the 21st of September?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
It's just the unofficial
I guess
summer.
what they consider summer as far as the vacation season is over.
Right. Kids going back
But
to
we,
school.
But we
stuff
should
like
have
that.
nice weather all the way into October if we're lucky.
They got a heat wave coming tomorrow.
Yeah,
Back to
that's why I
that.
plan on we're going to wash the bimmer up. I'm going to put the top down and take me a nice ride.
You'll be great.
But I was so happy, you know, I was not expecting to have lost that much weight when I went to the VA yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So my plan was to go to the VA, get weighed, be like, you know, reasonably happy, and then take myself out for a nice breakfast. But
you
I
go.
skipped the breakfast after I got weighed.
Wow, that's showing some real self-discipline, Frank. I'm proud of you.
That's right.
I've never known you
And
to
then-
be like that.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I mean, you know, I've been going out to dinner about once every 2 weeks with my client, and he always has a couple Jack Daniels and water, and I'm always tempted to have a beer, but I pass. Haven't had a beer in months.
That beer's no good for the gout either, I guess, right?
No, not really.
All right.
But, you know, the problem with beer, see, I only drink 2 glasses, or if I'm having dinner, I'll drink 2 bottles, and it's not enough to really get you buzzed, although I really enjoy my meal when I have a couple bottles of ice-cold beer. But, you know, if you're not going to get buzzed, why bother? You know, it's just wasted calories.
Don't make any sense.
Yeah. And I don't drink enough to get buzzed. I mean, I would never have 3 or 4 beers. I don't think I've done that in years. And I just don't do it. Because I really am not looking for a buzz, you know.
All right.
Matter of fact, October will be my 2-year anniversary of not smoking any herb.
Oh, you know, you sound a lot clearer, too. I think it's
2
cleared up your
years.
mind.
You believe that? I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
I wonder if is that any reason why the street prices are going down.
Believe me, man, I'm saving a fortune. It's paying for the car payments. It's paying for my new computer. I mean, everything I bought, I basically bought for free off of pot money.
There you go.
I mean, I was spending it well over $1,000 a month. And that's ridiculous.
All right.
It really is.
It really is, Frank. $1,000 a month. Well, anyway, the prices are being driven down because the black market prices are being driven down because
Really?
of illegal weed. I got an article there somewhere. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing.
That might entice me.
I was talking to our old buddy. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to our old buddy Mooch about that earlier in the week. I had seen that article and I was reading it while he called, or when I called him, and we were talking about that a little bit. Yeah. We had a call early today from Whitey. He requested a Queen song. I want to apologize. I can't get to that.
Yeah, I didn't remember that song he was mentioning either. I don't know if he was serious about that.
I'm not sure.
But we don't want anybody calling up and bad-mouthing Mama America, okay?
Oh, was that who he was talking about? He said Hillary. I thought it was an old friend.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
No.
Listen, I got bad news for you because I know you were a little upset that Coins was on for 45 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes is the limit, okay?
I could talk to that guy all day, but here's
Well,
the
that's
thing.
fine. Like I said, get a room and talk all day. But when people are waiting to call in, all you're doing is frustrating everybody.
And you know what? He doesn't interrupt me when I'm talking either. That's another thing I like about coins.
That's why I'm much more entertaining than he is, because,
You are.
you will let each other drone on forever,
Right,
okay?
right.
I don't permit that.
No, you interrupt.
That's why I'm in the Internet Broadcasters Hall of Shame, okay?
You should be.
And I
Tell
am.
you what, the anti-social
I'm a
media
perpetual
Hall of Fame
inductee from
also.
year to year.
You can't nominate yourself, Frank. I'm telling you, these things don't work out
Oh,
right.
believe me, I'm well nominated by others, believe me.
Okay, well, here's the deal. I'm going to need you next week, right? We don't have coins next week, so next week we can cover a lot
now all
of
of a sudden,
topics.
now you need
Now
me.
I need you, right.
Right, thanks.
So I'll get back to you on that. But I got to get you
Yeah,
off
all
the
right.
air here. We only got 9 minutes left, and you got to listen in because we're going to get a call in from our old friend Jigger, who's got a personal Darryl Dawkins story to share with the audience. So I want to get
Okay,
him.
well, I have just a 10-second Darryl Dawkins story about Chocolate Thunder.
Go.
Whenever
There you go. All right, Frank.
All right,
If I had
buddy.
a rim shot, I'd give it to you. See you later, pal.
All right,
Thanks
bye-bye.
for the call. Bye-bye. All right, our good friend, Big Frank. So, listen, we've got 8 minutes left. I've had a great second hour here with Coins and Frank. I'm hoping I'm going to get a call any minute from our old buddy Jigger. And he can relate his personal Chocolate Thunder story to us. In the meantime, I should remind you that we are sponsored exclusively by Mike Bergen Realtor. MikeBergenRealtor.com.
Up next, the Basketball Report with Ed Basketball Jones.
Good morning, Fat Hat Radio. You're on the air.
Michael,
My savior. How you doing, Jigger?
did you just call me your savior?
Yes, yes. Hey, I've been advertising you all morning to our legion of fans out there that I was
Oh,
having
really? Listen, how about Frank blasting you, man, about, what was that, spending too much time with Kelly?
Points. But you don't know. You didn't know half of it. He was sending me nasty emails in the meantime.
Ignored it?
I don't want to curse because it's this we're at a morning show, so I never know when the kids are listening. But
Yeah.
it went along the lines of, what is this, the effing coin show?
Well, you guys, actually, I've been working here, man. I was out earlier in the morning, and so I've been sitting here just working, man, trying to get caught up with some stuff because I got to go out of town Monday and Tuesday. And I think you, and I'm listening in the background, so I know you went through like every position for the Phillies,
Yeah.
for like, and then the farm system.
The farm system.
Yeah,
Coins
So
knows this stuff off the top of his head, though. I mean, I'm
he's
impressed
the
with that.
greatest.
He is the greatest.
Him with baseball and Dan with football. Although, if Dan's listening, I got to tell you, Kelly was whacking him around the other night over at Sandy Run.
Really? About what?
He said that he there was some stuff that he predicted that wasn't right, and blah 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 blah. And I said, so what are you saying, that he's not really the football expert that Fat Hat Radio should have? He said, well, I'm not going that far.
Oh, no.
I
I would.
said, but I don't know that. So I got to remember to mention that to Dan.
I want to tell you, first of all, it's good that you did need to mention it to Dan. I'm glad you said that. But secondly, I would dispute that because and my evidence is this. Last year on the pick'em pool that I had with my brother-in-law Tom, runs the pick'em pool. Now there's like 70 guys in this pool, and every year I always win a couple bucks. I get lucky. You got to win a week. I think I explained that before.
Right.
But last year I finished second. That's the first time that's ever happened. I've never finished in the top 5 in the 7 years he's been doing it. And the only difference between last year and every other year is that virtually every week, I got to talk to Danny about each game. We would run through it. So I changed picks during the year based on his input, and I ended up in second place out of like 70 guys, paid for this year. Mm-hmm. So I've already got my money. I made last year. I made a couple $100 plus paid for my $84 this year already. So I'm looking at. I haven't told Danny this yet, but this is like our team now. So with Fat Hat Radio, he's going to be. I'm going to do the same thing I did with him last year, and just split my winnings with him this year.
You're
Right.
splitting your winnings with
Yeah,
Dan?
definitely. I won. I paid for this year's entry fee. It's $84. I paid my entry fee with last year's winnings, and he helped me out with last. I'm not giving him any of last year's. There's no I'm not.
Listen, I don't know that I'd go so far as to split your winnings. I might buy him a beer here or there. Or
There's
something.
no retro. No, I think I need to go all the way here. I like this. Plus, it might get him to call in if he thinks he's going to win a couple bucks. I never hear from him. He promised he was calling this week. And we have tied up the phones in the last hour or so.
Well, they were all here yesterday, and I'm thinking maybe he's not at the hospital. But Kier, man, my daughter Kier is she's ripe for the picking. If she don't go by Friday, they're taking her in and inducing. So so he's not. I'm sure he's not at the hospital. We would know it, but
right.
She wants to have this baby soon.
Yeah,
as soon as possible. It's
well,
over.
I thought about that too. I figured if she didn't have the baby before today, that he probably wouldn't end up because he's probably got to follow her around so she don't tip over.
Yeah.
My niece is getting induced tomorrow. She's in the same condition as Kier. Yeah.
Yeah. Kier's got next Friday's the cutoff, and because she's got to be in a wedding the next week. So she's got to have the baby on Friday and be in a wedding.
Right.
One of her college roommates. A week after down in Maryland or someplace.
Well, if anybody can do it, Kier can do it. That's for sure.
She's in great shape.
She'll be kicking ass 2 days after she has the baby. The baby will be doing yoga with her.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, man. So I know you're cutting low on time. So here's the deal.
Go ahead.
First off, how much do you really know about Darryl Dawkins? Obviously.
Very little. We talked about him earlier. First high school kid.
Okay, so do you remember the Philadelphia Journal?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Newspaper.
So the Philadelphia Journal was kind of a knockoff of the Daily News, but with nothing serious in there, a little bit bigger in size. And they had Miss Page 7, who was sometimes half decent looking chicks in bikinis, but most of the time they were rough looking chicks.
Right.
And then he used to have he wrote an article.
Skanky is the word I would have used, but go ahead.
What'd you call it?
Skanky.
Yeah, they weren't that bad. I mean, they just weren't. They weren't killer chicks. But
right.
but he used to write an article in there called "The Dunketeer Talks Back."
Oh yeah.
And that was really when he started. He got all the pub with Chocolate Thunder and Lovetron, and he would in the article he would write and describe what Lovetron was like. And we used to play ball 7 days a week, basketball 7 days a week, and we used to play at Kenrick where we always ran the softball thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Monday through Friday we had that paper, man. And we'd play for 7 hours, and we'd sit there and just laugh about some of the shit that he wrote. But he was a unbelievable character, and people loved him. There was a couple good articles over the last couple of days in the paper. One of them was when Billy Cunningham coached the Sixers, and Dawkins was on the team. He had some really nice things to say, but they said he was a difficult guy to coach, which he was.
I'm sure.
I think he was young. He came into the league at 18 out of high school, and
right.
And Jack McMahon was the scout who found him down in Florida. He was an old Irish cat that was a scout for the Sixers for years, and Gene Shue was the coach initially, and he had to talk Gene Shue into drafting him. He drafted him 5th, man. It was huge. And so Cunningham's coaching, and they said at one point in the article, he said that he's got his finger in Dawkins' face, and he's cursing at him and yelling at him, and when he turned to walk away, Dawkins tripped him.
Whoa.
He tripped him, and he said the whole gym went crazy laughing, and Cunningham said, I even had to laugh. He said, but he was one of these guys that, a big, but a heart of gold type guy, man, a really...
Man-child.
Good, yeah, a man, exactly, a man-child, definitely.
Yeah.
But, and then the other major things, where he got all his pub was shattering the backboards.
Right, I remember that.
He did the first one against Kansas City, in Kansas City, and it was this guy Bill Robenzine, and then he wrote a poem about it. It was tremendous. This whole, and then he did it. Everybody was talking, telling him, "You got to do one at home. You got to do one at home. You got to do one at home." And then at one point he broke the backboard in the Spectrum against, I think it was like San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
And then really after that, they started breakaway rims. They never had breakaway rims before that.
Right, so he's the guy that got the NBA using breakaway rims.
Absolutely.
I
And
do
then the
remember
other,
that start.
and you haven't seen a lot of like people break backboards, but I don't know if you would have ever seen this. There was a kid, Jerome Lane, who played at University of Pittsburgh, and he was like 6'7", but a big, strong young guy, and he broke a backboard in one of the Big East games, a Big East game. So, but Darryl was the first one. So okay. So anyway, so here's the deal. I'm on a red eye back from LAX, from Los Angeles, and I'm not the best sleeper. So when I get on a plane, man, it's like, the whole plane's asleep but me, and and fortunately, for whatever reason, I was in first class. So I'm sitting at LAX at the bar there, and I've flown out of there probably a dozen times, and it's direct back to Philly. So it's maybe like 10 o'clock. The flight's going to leave at like 11:30 or something at night. Sitting at the bar, and who comes up but Dawkins? And now there's like, I don't know, 20 other brothers around, man. They all know who he is, and he's so engaging. And he sits at the bar, and he's got, 15, 20 people around him, and he's laughing, and he's really loud, but like not loud in an obnoxious way. He's just a jolly type guy. So we get on the plane, and I'm in, I don't know, I might have been in, it goes A, B, C, D across the plane. So I might be in like 3C, and he's in 4B. So he's to my left, and the seats are kind of staggered. So we sit down, and even then, back then they didn't give you no food, man. It wasn't like they were giving you meals. So they come out, and they get us a drink, and they come out with like a basket full of snacks. Potato chips and pretzels and crackers, and like them little bags of shit.
Right.
Mike, swear to God, he took like 12 bags. And now the attendant don't know who the hell he is. I mean, he's just this big African American guy, right?
Right.
So he's got like 12 bags, and he's sticking them in, and a couple people, I guess, in first class recognized him. So he's talking to some people, and he starts munching on some shit. We take off, and they turn the lights off in the plane. So I got my laptop on, and literally the plane's dark. I'm telling you, snored so loud, like people in first class were pissed off. The only other person was Frank Tamarello can snore like that. And I was been on planes with Frank when people I would pretend I wasn't with him. We're sitting next to each other. It's like, I don't know who this guy is. I ain't with him. So he's snoring, and I'm laughing because I'm up. It doesn't matter to me. But there's people getting up, and one guy goes to the attendant and say, "Come on, you got to shake him, man. Like, this is crazy." So we paid money like everybody else, one of those numbers,
right,
like a pissed off. You're like, just shut up, sit down. So we land. And, everybody that turned the lights on, and you land, and it might have been like 6 in the morning or something. And he gets up, and he's stretching, and I'm standing there, and he's kind of stretching. He goes, "Damn, that was a nice flight." And I looked at him, I said, "What?" He said, because we had talked for a minute before he conked out. I said, "What?" He says, "That was a nice flight." I said, "Nice for you." I said, "Your big ass snored the whole way home." And he looks at me, he goes, "What?" And I said, "I'm telling you, man, there were everybody. Now, there's people in our first class, they're hearing me talking to them, and they're like shaking their heads. And I'm like, I said, look around at these people. I said, you pissed off everybody in first class. And now there's like some people laughing, and he goes, "You a funny guy." Like, that's exactly what he said. Right. "You a funny guy." I said, "No, I ain't no funny guy." I said, "But you're a snoring ass." And he puts his arms around me, and he gives me like this big bear, hug shit. Laughed my ass off, man. But there's people in first class, they're laughing, and to me, it's kind of like, well, he ain't going to punch me. I know he's not going to do that, because that's not his nature. So I figure I can get away with a little something. But
right, he was a gentle giant.
It was funny. Cool. And then we walked out toget's just funny shit.
Yeah, well, he didn't care.
But it's a loss, man. It's like you read some of the articles. He was really well liked, and the other thing, I saw something on TV. They had something on Sports Center. Like if you've ever seen Lloyd Free dress,
World Free.
like World Be Free, got like lime suits on and yellow suits
Right,
and shit.
orange, red.
They were, and Dawkins was the same, man. Pink jacket and yellow shirts, and everything was this
He was
bright
a
colors.
monster.
Yeah,
I was sitting on the floor once when Caldwell Jones was on the team with him, and we were behind the basket, and he and Jones, when they walked down the court from the back, it was like you could take Jones and stick him inside Dawkins and he would disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like a skeleton compared to Dawkins. Dawkins was like a mountain of a man.
Yeah, he's like, at the time when he was like 18, he was like 6'11" and 285 or
Right,
something.
and he could run and all, man.
And he could run and dunk. And actually, a good quote in the paper that I read, it might have been yesterday, was from Shaq. Shaq had some nice things to say about him, and he said he was the godfather or father of like big dunks, like hard dunks, and he said I'm one of his sons.
Nice,
Shaq is another big monster.
He is fun, and he's a funny guy too. I love Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If you would remember that Sixers team when they had Lloyd B. Free and they had Joe Bryant and they had Dawkins, and that was a team that was supposedly a lot of clowns, man.
Yeah, I don't really remember too much about them, but except for my Caldwell Jones story, that's as far as I can go.
Yeah,
but they were the same height, but they looked like a man and a boy.
Yep.
So.
All right, brother. Well, you're past your time, man.
That's okay. I've enjoyed this. I appreciate you waiting it out and calling.
Yeah.
All
right, baby. You take care, pal.
Appreciate it. Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
soon.
day, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too, Ed. See you, Bo. All right. We're running way over, but it's 1951 show and never talked about 1951. I had a couple notes here. Did you know that the first skydiving championships are staged in Yugoslavia in 1951? How many people would know that? All right. We don't know that. The 22nd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified. You know what that is? No, none of you do. 22nd Amendment to the Constitution limits the president to 2 terms. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were convicted of conspiracy on espionage charges. You might have remembered that. First color television broadcast was on June 25th, 1951. Catcher in the Rye was published in 1951, I got here. Big flood in the Mississippi River in Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Illinois. It flooded 100,000 acres. So, I don't know what's going on with climate change, but we had I Love Lucy, Dragnet, and the Roy Rogers premiere on TV. They're still on TV. And Coast to Coast telephone service is inaugurated. How about that? So 1951 was the first direct dial coast to coast telephone service. It was a call between the mayors of Englewood, New Jersey and Alameda, which I'm pronouncing wrong, California. And Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays made their major league debuts, and Satchel Paige from the old Negro League signed a contract with the St. Louis Browns, finally entering the majors at the age of 45. So, I was hoping for a little more tidbits from the audience, but 1951, that's our show for today. I want to thank Deege for calling in, and Denny gave us his the usual social director's update on all things going on. Remember, the Dugout Reunion is September 13th at Katie O'Donnell's up at Franklin Mills. So appreciate Denny calling in and giving us the updates on the naked bike ride, which we would have missed. Special thank to Coins, who I haven't talked to forever. We beat baseball to death. Got a little criticism from Big Frank and a little gentle ribbing from Jigger. But I really love talking to Coins about baseball, man. So, and life in general, which we skipped that. That's more fun probably talking off the air. So I want to thank Deege and Coins for calling in. Thank Eddie for calling in with his stories. Thank Big Frank for listening in and calling in and everything he does for the show. My apologies to Whitey. I couldn't find that song that he wanted. He requested for Hillary, but I'll do something about trying to find that on iTunes this week. Don't forget MikeBergenRealtor.com for all your real estate needs. You've got FatHatRadio.com. We're on the web now. You can check us out once in a while. We've got the Dugout Reunion September 13th I mentioned, and the Beats for Bella golf tournament. That golf outing is on the weekend of Popes here, which is September 26th. So we'll be doing that. And I'm proud to say that we are a platinum sponsor in the Beats for Bella golf outing, and also beatsforbella.com. You can find information on hypoplastic left heart syndrome and keep up with our girl Bella as she continues to change the world. And we love them. We love her. I love all my guys that were on today. You know, I love all you guys.